Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar on DeltaV from Emerson. My name is Laurent Bueno. I am the Power Unity Lead Americas at Microsoft. And I'm delighted today to be with Adin and Nate, who will speak through the DeltaV SaaS SCADA from Emerson. DeltaV SaaS SCADA is built on Microsoft Azure, which is what has led us to this conversation today to learn more about the applications across the energy industry. I will quickly intro Adin and Nate and then let them present their sections. So Adin is the Director of Business Development for Emerson's DeltaV. He steps up with over 15 years with Emerson. He's on the executive leadership team and was previously the Director and Market Manager of Engineering Solution. Nate is the Director of Customer Solutions Engineering and has been with Emerson for the past 6 years. Both of them reside and work in Houston. And they are going to chat with us today about on-prem systems and why, how, and when you should consider moving your system to the Emerson DeltaV SaaS SCADA Cloud Native IoT platform that has an AI and edge capabilities. So that's a lot to walk into. So let's go. Adin, first, welcome. And it's a pleasure to speak with you today. And I'm hoping you can give us a bit of a level set and background of the importance of your solution and why it matters for the industry.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Thank you for the introduction, Laurent. Emerson and Microsoft certainly have a powerful technology partnership, and Nate and I are very excited to join you today for this webinar. So our conversation on the transition from on-prem systems to cloud computing and software as a service applications is applicable across numerous industries that Emerson serves, that Microsoft serves, from healthcare to pharma, water, manufacturing, refining, chemical. But today we're going to focus in on energy and specifically the oil and gas industry. So to level set, like you mentioned, what is an organization's tech objectives? I'm actually going to start off with a relevant quote here from Microsoft's founder, Bill Gates. So only through focus can you do world-class things, no matter how capable you are. So a fundamental reason to adopt technology is to allow organizations to focus on their core business, really focus on what they're great at. So in the case of the oil and gas industry, that's a focus on exploration, production, and the transmission of energy. And what we're discussing today is ultimately how to utilize low-touch, capital-efficient, highly secure, cloud-based software as a service applications wherever applicable and wherever possible across an organization. And this methodology, as stated by Bill Gates, of focusing on your core business while allowing experts to manage data, technology, analytics, ultimately artificial intelligence, drives the three objectives that we show here. So can you adapt and can you thrive in an ever-changing market? Can you get actionable insights from all the big data that you have to drive profitability? And can you future-proof your tech, right, to be environmentally friendly and keep up with the ever-changing technology landscape? So to continue the level set, we'll take a look at Emerson at a glance here. So Emerson was founded in 1890 and has been a global automation leader for well over 100 years. We ourselves have gone through digital transformation into a global software leader. So with all new tech initiatives that are fully cloud-based, of course, with Microsoft and on the back of the Microsoft Azure platform. And we have the option of being cloud-based or fully cloud for all of our new software solutions that we're bringing to market. And that software strategy complements our market-leading suite, the already existing intelligent devices and systems. So we can provide a total end-to-end package and solutions for multiple industries, but also specifically, as mentioned before, the oil and gas industry, and we do it on a global scale. So I'll quickly highlight a couple items on this slide here. So with $17.5 billion in revenue, Emerson is a Fortune 150 company. So we actually rank, as of today, 121st on the Fortune 500 list. We are headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. But globally, we touch every corner of the earth. We have 130 locations worldwide, 73,000 employees. And some interesting facts here on our scale and the footprint of our technology. So 20% of global power generation utilizes our control systems, such as DeltaV SaaS SCADA that we're going to touch on today. And as the entire world shifts to LNG as a primary energy source, 70% of LNG already flows through Emerson valves worldwide. So we're a high-tech, fast-paced, now software-focused organization with a very exciting future. And on the back of that, Nate is going to discuss a little bit more about Emerson's software focus and specifically DeltaV SaaS SCADA and how that technology comes into play.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adin. So to speak on Emerson's vision, overarching vision on software and how it enables our customers with automation, we like to talk about our boundless automation initiative, right? And so boundless automation to us means the unification of customer data across the field, edge computing, and of course the cloud. So Adin already mentioned the benefits. We'll really start diving in more detail, but the benefits of bringing data to the cloud for long-term historization and analytics and reporting, and AI-driven models as you know, you take that data into the future. And Emerson's sort of vision is to tie this future-facing cloud system into the edge, right? Into more intelligent edge devices that are capable of really breaking down those silos between data sources and making sure everything can be interconnected. Make sure that the cloud gets access to the right data so that your business systems can start, you know, getting access to that data as quickly as possible. And so Emerson's product offering is the full suite from the intelligent field devices and sensors all the way through the edge connect into the cloud for a unified historian and analytics platform. And we think that ties into you know, our customers' business and value over time.
Thanks for this overview, Nate. I think it speaks to how broad and wide you are in the industry and how Microsoft is really enabling others and partners as we are a platform. Can you give us more color on how DeltaV specifically fits into this picture?
Yeah, sure. DeltaV SaaS SCADA specifically, our product is a SaaS-based cloud monitoring and historization solution. So when customers need data from the field, from their edge devices, you know, you can think of this in energy as flow data, pressure data, tank levels, all of that sensor data that aggregates in the field, that comes back into our cloud-based monitoring system, which then we handle the infrastructure, and all that infrastructure is handled as a service. So that's the SaaS portion of our business, and it's all based in that Microsoft Azure cloud, which we lean on for a lot that we'll kind of talk about when it comes to things like security and scalability. But we host that cloud architecture for our customers so that they can focus on their core business, like Adin mentioned before. And the DeltaV SaaS SCADA product really is the more focused on the cloud portion of the boundless automation initiative here. Thanks for the question. So I spoke a bit about DeltaV SaaS SCADA and how we fit into Emerson and the boundless automation sort of vision. An overview of our product specifically, right? We have over 3.3 million sensor points coming into our cloud-based platform every day, with 139 million daily readings stacking up in our database, right? We have over 10,000 daily logins from over 4,000 registered platform users, 500 plus company accounts that are global. And also we've had 24 annual platform updates in the last year. We'll talk more about what this means, but as a software as a service platform, we actually incorporate a lot of new features and security fixes and improvements all as a part of that service, right? So there's no upgrade fees. Our customers aren't paying for additional features or upgrades down the road, right? All of that gets baked into that subscription, so we can provide them the best in class, cloud architecture and security model.
And I'll jump in, Nate, to go through a little bit of the key points from our history here. So you can, of course, see that we were founded in 1987 as ZI Solutions. And in 2001, so thinking of that, 24 years ago, we created an internet-enabled gas flow measurement device for the oil and gas industry. That data was accessible through a web browser. And way back in the day like that, there wasn't any mainstream context around what that was called. Today, of course, that would be called cloud-based SaaS SCADA. That would be called the Internet of Things. So naturally, with that longevity and that staying power, we are, of course, a pioneer in this space, but we're also extremely knowledgeable on a global scale of how to implement and drive digital transformation through software as a service to the benefit of our clients and organizations. The other kind of exciting thing that really accelerated our innovation was in 2019 when ZI Solutions was acquired by Emerson. So this technology was, of course, added to the DeltaV automation portfolio, now as we know called DeltaV SaaS SCADA. And between 2020 and now, in partnership with Microsoft, right, we did a transition to Microsoft Azure around that time. We've made significant investment to remain cutting edge, to explore and deploy machine learning and AI applications, new data transport methodologies such as MQTT. So it's been certainly an exciting ride, and we're very happy for the staying power to bring such innovative technology to the world. Okay, so I will jump into the architecture here at a high level, and it's meant to be visually high level, obviously extremely complex behind the scenes, but that's the value of software as a service, right? You're moving those complexities to the experts while once again focusing on your core business. So taking a look at this architecture, how this technology actually works, really we pride ourselves in like a maximum speed of deployment for our clients and the significant economic value that provides to them. So at the bottom left there, you'll see sensors in the field. This would be, for example, oil and gas assets that are connected, pressure transmitters, temperature transmitters, flow meters, vibration sensors, etc. They're connected to a gateway, which can be a combination of RTUs, remote terminal units, PLCs, programmable logic controllers, or edge devices that are on the market. And Nate's actually going to detail what edge devices are, as they are fairly new from a technological standpoint in the oil and gas industry. We then, from the gateway, use highly secure data transmission mediums for extremely remote locations. So the whole idea around SaaS for industry is, can we get access to the most dangerous places on Earth for remote monitoring and remote control so humans don't have to go there, so they can be more efficient, be more safe. Those mediums are cellular, satellite. We do that highly secure through APNs with telecommunication providers across the world. And all of that eventually lands in DeltaV SaaS SCADA, which is, of course, as we discussed, backed by Microsoft Azure in the cloud. And as cloud companies begin to rely on software as the cloud allows companies to rely on software as a service, where technology organizations like Emerson are accountable for keeping the systems running 24/7, as well as publishing updates and enhancements. We're all about managing these platforms, managing your data management strategy without causing any business disruption. So as you develop an in-depth strategy around digital transformation, it's comforting knowing that you have a partner in line with your organizational objectives. And for the oil and gas industry, those technology objectives are typically around improved safety, improved operational efficiency, lower environmental impact, and ultimately the goal is to drive profitability. And on the right there, you can kind of see an overview of all the advantages of software as a service summed up nicely: flexible and reliable data management, ease of data integration from multiple sources. As Nate mentioned, always keeping everyone cutting edge, always up to date. And then, of course, best-in-class cybersecurity and support as well.
So thank you, and thank you, Adin. You've talked about the global scale of the business and speed to value. Can you speak a bit about how you achieve this from a consumer support point of view and professional services point of view?
We absolutely can. I'm going to pass this off to Nate, who manages our customer solutions engineering group, and he can definitely provide you some color of how we achieve that.
Yeah, definitely. On the next slide, I've got a good visual representation of this, but thanks for the question. So service is definitely critical, right? So our business is sort of based around these three pillars with the software as a service offering, right? But also just that core service offering. So providing that 24/7 support when customers need something as basic as, simple platform support, using their user experience, using the platform to get their data, to interact with, to do their job. And that goes as far as, support on the engineering side. So having access to our engineering and project management teams that can lead large-scale implementations and migration projects, just to make sure that customer experience stays at the forefront, right? So as our customers, gain value from SaaS and focus on their core business, we want them to feel supported and feel enabled and empowered by access to their data and to this advanced platform. So yeah, so service is definitely critical, and our teams that have been developed for both supporting customers on the on sort of the front end side and on the engineering side are key players in that. So in addition, like I mentioned, we've got these three pillars, right? So service is a critical one, like we were just talking about, but also security and scalability, right? So being based on the Microsoft Azure platform allows us to scale up very quickly for customers, right? To quickly implement new sites and make sure they have access to all of their data wherever they are. We have a native mobile application as well as the web application, so they can get data, they can get automated reporting to make sure that all of that data ends up where it needs to in terms of their business and their business systems. And of course, like we said before, that security aspect is so critical, right? So working with Microsoft on the cybersecurity side has been extremely beneficial, for us and for our customers. And so yeah, so these are the three pillars that our platform is really, built around for providing customer value.
Thanks, Nate. So hopefully that gives everyone a little bit of background on cloud, on software as a service, and also specifically the DeltaV SaaS SCADA cloud-based application. So now we'll jump into some of the details on the value for our client base. So what you're seeing here is a visual representation of both the financial value of a cloud-based software as a service system, as well as the organizational efficiency. So if you look at the top of the glacier, that shows you clear subscription costs, right? No hidden fees. It allows for pricing certainty, which is extremely powerful in today's capital intensive markets. This is the basis of how cloud-based systems and applications are charged, right? Monthly fees, quarterly, annual. Of course, in many cases, there are multi-year contracts that are developed to consolidate this fee, but that is the basis, and nothing's hidden. Underneath the water, where the glacier is, are examples of hidden costs that aren't typically taken into consideration or taken into account when looking at the total cost of ownership for an on-premise system or anything done in-house from an IT perspective. So, just to name a few here, fixes, patches, upgrades to stay on the cutting edge can be extremely expensive. Downtime, that's tough to resolve without the right amount of manpower. Performance tuning, an ongoing IT burden to an already cost center based in a business, upgrades, communication costs, etc. So these costs create financial uncertainty and can lead to the deployment of resources within an organization that aren't focused on core business. So everything under the water is included in traditional software as a service, right? That's how it's built. No hidden fees again. And this is important visualization because those going through digital transformation need to understand what systems and applications should be translated to the cloud and what applications should be transitioned to software as a service versus doing it on-prem or versus doing it in-house.
Seeing this iceberg in the water makes me think of my industry and the difficulty of managing and navigating compliance in the cloud in some cases in power and utility. Can you talk about this as it relates to what you're doing at Emerson?
Yeah, Nate's going to speak to this slide in a second here, which is actually about edge devices, which actually adds another layer of security and another way for us to meet some of the ever-changing compliance rules and regulations. But to answer your question at a high level first, across all industries and across all countries, there's rapid adoption of the ability for organizations to realize the benefit of the cloud and software as a service. So we're talking about energy today, but from life sciences to utilities as well, military applications, everything's becoming more widely adopted of what we're talking about today, cloud software as a service. And it's also becoming an industry best practice to allow organizations to be able to compete in their space. Speaking about both our organizations, at Emerson and Microsoft, we have expertise. Nate talked about service previously, so we have experts with deep knowledge on these dynamic compliance policies, and they're always taken into consideration for the solutions that we deploy. So that's, at a high level, we use our in-house expertise and in domain knowledge to be able to ensure that we're regulatory compliant, and we take it seriously. We would never do anything out of compliance, because what we're also talking about is taking liability away from organizations so they can focus on their core business, not cybersecurity liabilities that we will handle for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. Thank you, Adin. To speak on another side of the value that our teams bring to the table when it comes to integrating the edge and the cloud-based platform into the future, is basically the wide range of edge devices and edge intelligence that Emerson offers, right? So when it comes to getting data from the field and bringing that data to the cloud, things are changing, right? So instead of just more traditional, just point to cloud, or having a simple RTU or PLC going to the cloud, our solutions team is introducing layers with edge devices and intelligence to actually make data valuable right away. So what I mean by that is that basically by adding a layer of intelligence at the edge, right, you can consolidate your data real time and also filter those results, giving the most important results real time into the cloud for alarming longer term trends and analytics without having to filter it once it lands there. The data, shows up ready to play, it shows up valuable, and ready to be consumed by the different business systems cloud side. And so what this really does is it gives customers a lot of the benefits of having a real-time monitoring on-prem system, and the benefits of hosting their data in a remote cloud platform at the same time by utilizing new technology and solutions on the edge. And so this is also a critical part of what our organization brings to the table, enabling our customers to really be forward-facing, future-facing with these solutions that they roll out. So definitely a big part of what we do today and what our offering is from the service side.
All right, so as we move even further into the future, technology vision matters, right? You want to make an investment in technology that's going to be equally as valuable down the road. So when making that investment in technology, it's important to ensure that the strategy is scalable and it's future-proof. So what we like to call that is cutting edge. That really means always up to date, and again, allowing organizations to focus more and more on their core business over time. So if we go back to energy and oil and gas specifically, this industry is definitely in a state of transition. We're moving from on-prem systems to the ability to realize remote monitoring, an automation strategy, and actionable data as a standard, right? A bare minimum level of technology to remain profitable. So that's the first three that we see there. We're now transitioning into the future. So that's advanced analytics, both descriptive and prescriptive through machine learning. And we're in the very early stages of implementing autonomous operations through artificial intelligence. So certainly the oil and gas industry is slightly lagging behind a wide variety of other industries, from personal and commercial vehicles to robotic-based manufacturing. But this digital transformation is happening real time, and the cloud and software as a service applications are necessary and essential for those organizations to ultimately realize the value of future state technology. It's rapidly approaching, things are rapidly changing, and the baseline is set. Cloud, software as a service as applicable. So we just wanted to show what the end result looks like, right? So what is that user experience? Really, the goal here is securely accessible anytime, anywhere, by anyone, and a shift away from logging into servers, which is a very manual, time-consuming process, and availability of data through web browsers and mobile applications, right? That's what the future is. So as mentioned, this transition has already occurred. Nate showed a great slide of how many users are already using DeltaV SaaS SCADA on a global scale. And this is a transition that isn't just happening in energy. If we talk about mobile banking, right? Finances, investments, it's already happening in a lot of other critical industries. And just like we're used to every day, we're using cloud-based applications for our personal lives on a daily basis. This improved experience is inclusive of those regular software updates, leading organizations to always be on the cutting edge. And so you can see examples of our web-based and mobile-based applications on this screen. Says right there, ready to roll, fast to deploy, edge connect, and it removes the complexity for businesses. They get to focus on their core.
Absolutely. And so when we talk about specific examples of the type of implementations that we do where customers need to focus on their core business and sort of offload this IT infrastructure and additional work that's outside that core business, we have stories like this one where, for example, a leading energy producer customer of ours did a large scale acquisition, right, where they acquired 2 new fields with upwards of 1,500 assets, assets that need to be monitored, assets that have data that is, valuable to the customer, both, for that production information and also for long-term optimization, right? So they did this acquisition, and by partnering with us and our service and engineering teams, we were able to very quickly and scalably stand up well over 1,000 sites in a short period of time so that they could stay focused on those, acquisition deadlines, stay focused on, keeping things running while we handled all this implementation to get things scaled up very quickly. And that's the kind of service and partnership that we have with our core energy customers. And so in this example, basic remote monitoring is just the first step, getting the data back. But what we're allowing this customer to do by getting that first step in the process of the remote monitoring and the access to the remote data is then, get the foothold to the next part of the process, which is making that data actionable long term through analytics and reporting, and getting more out of this aging asset base to make sure they keep driving profit by being as efficient as possible and optimizing based on the information they have access to. And that's really a core focus of us in the energy industry and an example of what we really do well with our customers today.
All right, so security is complex and it's constantly changing, right? But what we're displaying here today, what we're talking about today, is removing the burden, removing the liability of cybersecurity for your SCADA, right? And shifting it over to both Emerson and Microsoft, right? In partnership as your cloud-based software as a service platform. So if you put out a new cyber practice, let's say in the last month, it's already out of date. I mean, it's probably last week, it's already out of date. From what we focus in on, just to name a few things, multi-layer firewalls within Emerson, Microsoft Azure data center security, asset IP access control, identity management, and of course, audits, logging, penetration testing. So we deploy a best-in-class cybersecurity methodology across the globe for our clients and partners that's always up to date. And it's literally updated on a daily basis. One sticking point on this slide here that I really like is the 3,500 Microsoft security experts that are constantly monitoring the Azure system. So utilizing cloud and software as a service greatly improves your chances of preventing and defending against bad actors, against cybersecurity threats, against cybersecurity threats because of that statistic alone, right? That is very difficult to do with an on-prem or internally managed system, to have that much firepower from a cybersecurity perspective. And it says right there, security is everything to us. It's always on the forefront of conversations. We're always happy to have that conversation. We're always excited to show the clients, our partners, the world, how our cybersecurity methodology works, why it's a proven approach, and why we're the best partner when it comes to cybersecurity. Laurent, do you have anything to add from Microsoft point of view there?
Just thanking you both. So Adin, Nate, thank you. I think you went really deep into what you have to offer, but I loved how often you referred to security, scalability, innovation, and how all that is basically enabled by your partnership with Microsoft Azure. So it was great to hear. I hope this had values for people listening to the webinar. So thank you all.
Perfect. Thank you, Laurent. Yeah, and to close it all out here for anyone that tuned in, thank you so much. Just, the concept of rounding up on-prem systems and bringing them into the present and the future with cloud-native software as a service SCADA, AI applications, and edge devices. We thank you so much for learning about it. And if you want to learn more, you can reach us through our LinkedIn profiles. So those are listed there. You can also go to emerson.com/DeltaV SaaS SCADA. And Emerson is really proud to be partnered with Microsoft. I think we're making the world healthier, safer, smarter, and more sustainable, one cloud solution at a time. So thank you again, and let's go.